Hi guys, welcome to this video. A little bit of a different one I'm going to do on these next ones. So I found some footage that I did kind of rough edits of when I took my first holiday overseas in 1999. I travelled to Australia. So what I'm actually going to do is just do like a watch of it, and I'll record a kind of a reaction voiceover to this video, maybe try and explain some of the things that happen in it as it's going on. So the first leg is from the UK, where I set off to Hong Kong. So let me get it started and let's get into it. This first bit was shot at Manchester Airport. It's the first time I'd ever flown, and first time I'd ever been at an airport. I was flying with Cathay Pacific, I believe, and we took off from Manchester and actually stopped in Amsterdam to refuel. It was fascinating. Taking off for that first time was kind of a little bit scary as well. The plane, if you don't know, if you've never flown, after you take off, the plane does a little dip, and fortunately a friend of mine told me about it just before I took off on this. So yeah, we flew and then we landed in Amsterdam. So I actually had takeoff, level flight, landing, all within the first kind of hour to 2 hours of I believe it was like a 12-hour flight, maybe longer than that, to Hong Kong, maybe 12 or 16 hours or something like that to Hong Kong. But yeah, I found it fascinating. I loved flying. I kind of fell in love with flying ever since then, and just the views from so high up were amazing. I mean, this was, I think you'd probably go through Poland or somewhere like that, like Eastern Europe, and yeah, it was very kind of, you know, industrial. You see these big industrial complexes and things like that, and just the layout of the land, you know, where you can see forest and things like that. I found it fascinating. And then when we hit these you know, like snow-covered areas, and yeah, it was just beautiful looking out the window. So I filmed some things. It was the sun setting there, I believe, but I did actually arrive in the morning, so I might have been sunrise after I woke up. I stayed in Hong Kong for 16 hours, so I asked for like a stopover on the flight, and it could be a few hours there, and I said no, I'll go for a longer thing. So they booked me with a 16-hour stopover, and they gave me free travel to go exploring, kind of thing. They put like a tour thing for me. So I went out at the airport, got on this bus, you know, I got on the train first and then jumped on the bus, and then it took me off to I think there was 3 places it would go to, and I stayed on for the first one, which was like a temple or something like that. And then when I got off at one of them, the music you can hear, and these people that are playing, it was a couple that were begging in the streets, and I filmed them for a little bit. You know, I thought I could use the music from this in the video. I gave them, you know, a decent amount of money for using the music in their likeness in the video. This was just across the bay from things. So I think we were in Kowloon. I think that's where the main area was. And I was just fascinated by, you know, the sounds and the smells and just everything there. This was the Wonton Sun Temple or something like that. and yeah, it was very busy, lots of people there. I tried to film as much stuff as trying to, you know, not include people in it, and just show a bit of it, but they had like turtles there and things like that, you know, and some like really beautiful buildings, lots of bushes and trees around, and they had a section where you could pray, and you shake these, you know, these big things full of sticks, and you know, and when the stick came out, they'd take it up and everything, and it had some, you know, like fortune or some kind of, you know, thing on it as when you were praying as what whether you would get what you were praying for or not. And yeah, I just thought it was, you know, it was an interesting thing. I'd never seen anything like it before. I was just, oh, I'm going to, you know, capture some of this and just see what it is. This was kind of like a wishing well. There's some like turtles or terrapins in there. And then there's the New World Centre, which was like a shopping mall. When I got off the bus, because I've been in air conditioning all the way, my glasses suddenly fogged up, my camera fogged up, but I couldn't use it for a short while. And that was me just, you know, explaining that no wonder it's so humid here, because you know, there's fountains and things everywhere. But it was incredibly humid. I totally wasn't ready for it, even though it was so dull and overcast. You know, it was kind of like, oh, am I really in this exotic location? So this was me on the train heading back to the airport. I went back early because I wasn't sure how long it would be until, you know, when the last buses and things were going. I started to get a little bit worried. I'd been out a few hours, so I headed back to the airport, and then I think I ended up spending 5 or 6 hours just sitting in the airport at the departure gate waiting for my flight to depart. The airport was beautiful. It hadn't long been built, I believe, at that point. It was the new Hong Kong airport out on near Kowloon, and not the one, you know, where they used to fly in through the city, almost hitting the buildings and things like that. So yeah, it was a beautiful place, and I just, you know, came back there, had some food to eat and a drink, and then just made my way down to wait for my flight, which was going to Brisbane, was where I was. My final destination was on this flight, and it was the flight I was catching would stop at Cairns first, and then go on to Brisbane. So this was just a time lapse walking all the way down to the gate, because it was quite a long way. There we are. So gate 31, and that was it for this section. Next section will be Cairns and Brisbane. I spent a week in Brisbane. I hope you enjoyed watching it. It was a bit of a blast in the past for me. I say it was 1999, so it's like 20 odd years ago, over 20 years ago now, when I went out there. And yeah, I had a blast. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. I hope you enjoyed my explanations of what was happening. And I said the video was just standard definition, so that's why I decided to do this and just stick it in a box there, because you know, some of the lines and the quality and things like that, it's not brilliant, but I'm just showing it as it was and what I'd done.